Today we're looking at the new Mathews V3 in the 27 inch. Welcome back to Mike's Archery's YouTube, and we are here checking out the new 2021 lineup from Mathews, and we have got the brand new V3 27 inch on hand that we're taking a look at today. Now it is one of the shorter bows for this year that we have looked at, and at 27 inches axle to axle, really we don't like them that short. I'm not saying you can't shoot them that short, but 27 inches is definitely pushing the envelope on the length of what is shootable in our opinion. Now the specs on this bow, as far as speed, it's coming in at 342 feet per second. Again, axle to axle at 27 inches. And the weight on this bow, factory spec, is supposed to be 4.29 pounds according to Mathews. We threw it on the scale out of the box and we got 4.6 pounds. We did take the time to pull out the front dampener there and got it down to 4.4, so there's a little bit of weight in that. So you're getting pretty close to what factory spec weight is. There's clearly something else there, but it's fairly close once you take that extra bottom weight off that riser. Now they did redesign the cams, and it is a new cam for this year, and the adjustability on that cam with that cross-centric design that they've come up with will allow you to adjust from 25 inches on the low end out to 29.5. Now this being such a short bow, you're not going to see those extra long draw lengths. Even myself at 29 inches, when you come to full draw, the draw length is literally 2 inches longer than the axle to axle on this bow, and you can see it and you can feel it in the string angle as well. That cross-centric cam does allow a few options and adjustabilities from Mathews, and it all is built into their module system. The interesting thing that is different about Mathews cam system than pretty much anybody else on the market is that you can adjust the weight as well as the draw length and the let off with a set of modules. Now you can get this bow to adjust from 60 to 75 pounds at every 5-pound increments by having your shop change out the modules in this cam, which is an interesting feature as most bow companies are changing that weight option through limb deflection and what you can get there. With those adjustments, I feel there's obviously some performance issues, and I think it shows up in the draw cycle on this bow. Maybe it's just the shortness of it. You know, it is an innovative way to change things out, but from a shop standpoint and even a consumer standpoint, it's not one of my favorite options because you do have to go back to your shop. It's not an easy slide module where, hey, if you need an extra ½ inch or it's just not quite comfortable where you have it and you want to go one way or the other, you can't just slide that module. You need to go back to the shop, have them change out your module and adjust that draw length. And that's going to, you know, if you bought it from the shop, hopefully he's not charging for that. But if you've picked this bow up afterwards, there's probably going to be a charge. They may swap out mods for free, something like that. But it's just an issue that it's not easy to change. Again, if you want to adjust the bow weight, you can obviously still do that with the limb bolts. But if you're wanting that module change so that you can shoot it on the peak top end of that module, then again, you've got to go back to the shop and make that adjustment and have them swap out those mods to move your poundage from 65 to 70 to be a top end. So from that standpoint, we're not overly thrilled about the way Mathews has done their cam system, but it is something they have done for years. It is definitely a step better than the old days when you had to do a complete cam swap, pull the axles, the shims, everything. That was frankly just a nightmare to change your draw length. So it is much better from that standpoint. Brace height on this bow is at 6 inches, so it is down there about where most of your performance bows are coming in at on brace height, and that seems to be about the norm anymore these days out of most everyone. Now they do have several features on the new Mathews that are specific to their bow, and they've got some definite advantages there. One of those things they started 2 or 3 years ago was the integrated rest option with that dovetail slide on the back of the riser, and allows it to be something that you don't have to worry about it moving, since they do only have a single rest bolt hole if you use that integrated system. They also have had the extra weight dampener out here for the last few years into their design. They are calling that the 740 harmonic tuner, and I think you can feel it in the shot from Mathews. They are one of the deader bows we shoot out there. Now whether this plays a huge factor into it, they say it does. and it definitely puts some weight down there on the bottom near the limb pocket, and the bow is definitely dead in the hand. So that harmonic dampener that Mathews has had for years, they've moved that around in different places on the riser. They feel this is one of the best places they've had it for a long time, and it definitely tunes out a lot of the vibration and helps that bow be more stable. They did incorporate a new grip system called their Engage Grip. It is a very good feeling grip. It does have kind of a rubberized texture feel to it, so it's going to sit very well in the hand and not allow too much slip. If you're shooting barehanded or even with a glove, it's going to kind of grip into your hand and hold very well. Now, the other change we noticed for Mathews for this year was their roller guard and that Centerguard containment system that they came up with. In the past, it has been straight coming off the riser. They have angled that at a down angle, and they have centered it more toward the center of the riser, as well as lining up where your rest should be. That does a couple of things. One, it obviously gives you better fletching clearance. If you're using a little higher profile fletching, it's going to move that roller guard down, pulling those cables out of the way directly in line with the rest. The other thing it does is it allows for perfect timing. When you're setting up this bow or making adjustments and really tuning this bow in, that roller guard is more centered and allows the cams to be timed more properly than in the past. Now, the new riser that they came up with is an extended riser from what they've done in the past. It is the longest riser to axle-axle ratio that they have ever had. They have done a lot of milling and a lot of CNC machining into that riser, trying to shave ounces out of it. I know in the past Mathews has been one of the heavier bows on the market. With this new design riser and doing a lot of cutouts in it, it makes it look very cool, but it also has shaved some weight out of it as well, which is a nice feature, bringing the total weight of that bow down from what we've seen in the past for Mathews. One of the other things they redesigned on the new 2021 platform is new limbs as well as new limb pockets on this bow. And it's given it a little better look, a little slimmer limb pocket on there. I don't know that the stance is any narrower or wider than it has been in the past, but it is a redesign on how it connects to this riser. One of the other features that Mathews has incorporated this year is a new stabilizer bushing. And a lot of us would look at that and go, it's just a threaded hole. What can you change about a stabilizer bushing? But they have redesigned it and allowed it to have a 10% more stiffer connection than it has in the past, which is going to give you better stabilization when you put whatever choice you make of length of stabilizer on this bow. It is going to sit better and give less vibration out of it and connect more solid to the riser. Now, one of the last things that they have is their silent connect system that mounts right here between the limb pockets. They've had that for a couple years now. It's basically a little bracket that mounts in between there for you bow hunters that are climbing up into the trees. That's going to allow you a silent connection to hook into your bow rope to get this bow on and off. You're not have to clang through a cam or wrap it around the riser or limbs. You can simply just latch it onto that little piece there and draw that bow up into the stand with you, as well as let it down, making it nice and quiet getting in and out of the woods. Now, Mathews does offer several color options in this new 27 platform, as far as a total of 8 colors with 3 solids and 5 camo options. So you can certainly trip this bow out any way that you want it as far as color options and customize it to your personalized look. Price point on the new V3 from Mathews is $11.99, putting it right there with pretty much all the other flagship bows at $1,200. Now, we are going to step outside with this bow, shoot it over the chronograph, give you some of the performance specs, and as always, we will be using our 400 grain arrow, shooting this bow on 29-inch draw length with 70 pounds and the 85% let off. We have stepped outside with the new Mathews V3, and this is the 27-inch version of it, and we're going to shoot this over the chronograph, let you see what the speeds are or what the decibel noise ratings are on this as well. As always, we are shooting a 400 grain arrow, and we're shooting this bow on 29-inch draw length at 70 pounds with 85% let off, and so that'll give you kind of a baseline of where these specs are coming from. So let's take a shot and see how it does. So speed, we've been consistently getting 308 out of this bow, which is probably one of the faster bows we've shot this year. And 308 is not a bad speed. I mean, as short as this bow is, I guess it's kind of where you would expect it to be on speeds. Now, as far as the noise, I will say Mathews has got one of the quieter bows that we've had, and it's shooting at 97 decibels. Now, if you remember, if you've kept up with some of the other videos, most bows that we've shot this year are falling in that 98, 99, even 100 a lot of times on the decibel ratings. It is actually probably the quietest bow we have shot all year, and it is noticeable. From there, let's talk a little bit about the draw cycle on this bow. To be nice, it's terrible. I wish I could give it something better than that, but really and truly, in my opinion, this little tiny short 27-inch axle to axle, getting it over 70 pounds feels like you're drawing probably 75 or better. It's just really stiff. It builds up and stacks up on the top end really bad, in my opinion, and then it just drops off into that 85% let off. Now, once you get it there, it wants to go. It is not what I would call it's a solid back wall, but it's not what I would call a real forgiving back wall. It's not one that you can relax with. If you relax, this is going to want to pull through on you, and I don't like that feel. Maybe some people do. It makes it maybe a little easier to get off the string, but it's going to pull through on the shot at full draw. Now, as far as the after shot, Mathews has got that nailed down. As far as vibration free, sitting in your hand and just being a dead shot, it absolutely is. And from that standpoint, it's a great feeling bow when you shoot this bow. So once you get it drawn back and get past that draw cycle, the after effects of it are actually very good. So overall, I mean, it's a love-hate relationship here. Getting it drawn back we hate, but after the shot, it feels exceptionally good, and it is noticeably one of the quietest bows we've shot all year, and that shows up on the decibel meter just as well. So it's not that we're making up that, I think this is quieter, or I think it's the quietest bow we've shot. It truly is by a couple decibels on most bows. And if that's something that's important to you, it's definitely something to keep in mind, that Mathews is quieter than pretty much everything out there from our testing. Our overall opinion on this bow, like I said, is in between. It's definitely not our favorite bow by any means, and I'm not a short axle to axle guy, so it's not the best of both worlds there. But the overall feels pretty good. Now, from that standpoint, we do want to make a disclaimer here. We are not a Mathews dealer. We do not sell Mathews bows, and but we did want to give them a fair shake in the reviews that we do. And we give a shout out to one of our local dealers here, Eddie up at Real Deal in West Virginia. He allowed us to take a couple Mathews out of his stock and test them today. But if you're looking for a new Mathews, one of these new V3s, then check it out at your local shop. Make sure you give them a call, and they'll get you set up with one.